The meeting room was cold, stood in the corner with her hands folded in front of her. She was the translator for the human team. Her job was simple. Listen, translate, stay quiet. She was good at staying quiet. The room was large and made of dark stone. The walls had strange markings that glowed with soft blue light. There were tall creatures. They stood over 2 meters high. Their skin was like thick leather, gray and rough. Their eyes were yellow with black lines running through them. They looked like predators. They moved like predators. They thought like predators. The human delegation sat on one side of the long table. Captain Park led the team. He was a calm man with gray hair and tired eyes. Beside him sat the security officer, was young and strong. He had been friends since they were children. He kept looking at her, checking if she was okay. She always nodded back. She was always okay. On the other side sat the commander, was their leader. He was the largest in the room. His body was covered in old scars. Each scar was a story. Each story was a victory. Beside him sat his best warrior. Was younger than but just as big. His eyes never stopped moving. He watched the humans like a cat watches mice. The talks were not going well. They did not respect humans. They had conquered 12 star systems. They had defeated every species they met. They used blades, not guns. To them, guns were the weapons of cowards. Real warriors fought with steel. Real warriors looked into the eyes of their enemies when they killed them. Humans used guns. Humans used ships. Humans used machines. This meant humans were weak. Captain Park tried to explain. Humans wanted peace. Humans wanted trade. Humans wanted to be friends. Commander listened. Then he laughed. It was not a nice laugh. It was the laugh of someone who thinks you are a joke. Friends said, his voice was deep like thunder. The do not need friends, the need warriors. You are not warriors. You are soft creatures who hide behind your machines. Captain Park kept his face calm. We have survived many wars. We have faced many enemies. We are still here. You survived because no one thought you were worth killing, said. He stood up from his chair. He was restless, bored. He walked to the wall where ceremonial weapons hung on display. Old blades. Some were curved. Some were straight. All were sharp. Picked up one of the blades. It was long and heavy. The metal was dark gray, almost black. He swung it through the air. The blade made a sound like wind. This, said, is what makes a warrior. Not your little machines, not your computers. A blade, simple, pure, deadly. He looked at the humans with disgust in his eyes. Your kind, probably, does not even know how to hold one. Heard every word. She translated them for the team, her voice flat and professional. But inside something stirred, something old, something patient. His hands became fists under the table. He wanted to stand up. He wanted to say something, but Captain Park put a hand on his arm. Not yet. Not now. Commander stood up slowly. He was enjoying this. He could smell the tension in the room. He could feel the anger coming from the humans. It made him smile. Perhaps, said, we should test this. A challenge. One of your warriors against one of mine. Blade against blade. No machines, no tricks, just skill. Captain Park's face did not change. And if we refuse? Then you admit what we already know, that humans are weak, that you do not deserve a place among the strong. The room was silent. Every human felt the weight of those words. If they refused, they would never respect them. The treaty would fail. Everything they worked for would be nothing. Started to stand. He was the security officer. He was trained in combat. He could fight. But before he could speak, he felt a small hand on his arm. It was. She was looking at him with calm eyes. There was no fear in them. There was something else. Something he had not seen in years. Not since they were teenagers. Not since she used to train every day until her hands bled. Let me, she said. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. Stared at her. You can't. Let me, she said again. Noticed the movement, turned to look at the small human woman stepping forward. She was shorter than everyone in the room. She was thin. She wore simple clothes. She looked like nothing. Laughed, the other joined him. The sound filled the room like ugly music. This is your champion, a little female who stands in corners. This is a joke. Did not react to his words. She simply looked at Commander. I accept your challenge, she said. Her Korean accent was soft but clear. I will fight. Studied her for a long moment. His yellow eyes moved over her small body. He saw nothing dangerous. He saw nothing special. He saw exactly what he expected to see. A weak human. Very well, he said. Tomorrow, the arena. We will show the galaxy what humans really are. Bowed her head slightly, just a small movement, respectful but not afraid. Grabbed her arm as they left the room. What are you doing? You haven't held a blade in years. Looked at him, and for just a moment he saw it. The fire that used to burn in her eyes when she was young, when she was the best. Some things, she said quietly, you never forget. The arena was old, very old. The stone walls had been standing for 1,000 years. Generations of warriors had fought here. Generations had died here. The ground was dark in places, old blood that would never wash away. Stood at the entrance and looked at everything. The arena was round like a bowl. Stone seats rose up on all sides, and in those seats sat hundreds of, maybe thousands. They had come to watch. They had come to laugh. They had come to see a human lose. Stood beside her. His face was worried. He had not slept all night. You don't have to do this, he said. We can find another way. Shook her head. There is no other way, you know that. Then let me fight. I have training, I can. You would lose, said. It was not an insult. It was simply true. You fight like a soldier, that is good, but the fight like warriors. They have been doing this for 10,000 years. Soldier training will not be enough. Was quiet for a moment, and your training will be. Looked at him. There was the smallest smile on her face. My training is different. She walked into the arena. The sun was bright overhead. The sand under her feet was warm. She could feel every grain through her thin shoes. Good. She liked to feel the ground. On the other side of the arena was already waiting. He wore no armor. They did not believe in armor. Armor was for those who expected to be hit. True warriors did not get hit. His blade was already in his hand. It was the same one from yesterday. Long, heavy, dark metal. When Saw walking toward him, he laughed again. The crowd laughed with him. The sound was like thunder rolling across the sky. Look at this, called out to the crowd. They send me a child, a tiny female. Is this the best humans can offer? Did not answer. She walked to her position and stopped. A attendant came forward. He carried a blade on a cushion. It was similar to his blade but smaller, made for human hands. The attendant held it out to her. His yellow eyes were full of pity, like he was handing a toy to a child who was about to be hurt. Took the blade, she held it in front of her. She felt its weight. She felt its balance. She moved it slightly left and right, testing how it responded to her movements. The blade was heavier than a saber, heavier than a foil, but it was still a blade, and a blade was a blade. She had been holding blades since she was 6 years old. Her father had put one in her hand and said, "This will teach you who you are." He was right. His fingers adjusted on the hilt. Her grip changed from loose to firm in exactly the right places. Her wrist turned at a specific angle. Her elbow bent just so. Her shoulder dropped half a centimeter. In the stands, a few stopped laughing. Something about the way she moved was different. Something they did not expect. Noticed the change in the crowd. He looked at the human woman more carefully. She was standing very still now. The blade was raised in front of her, not too high, not too low. Her weight was balanced perfectly between her feet. Her eyes were locked on him. No, not on him, on his center, on his chest, on the place where all movement begins. Had seen warriors hold blades before, thousands of them. He knew what skill looked like. He knew what training looked like. And he knew what she was doing. She was not holding that blade like a human. She was not holding it like a... She was holding it like someone who had spent a lifetime learning how to kill with it. Forgot to breathe. For just a moment, just one heartbeat, but it happened. Then he shook it off. Impossible, she was human, she was small, she was female, she was nothing. You hold it well, he said. His voice was less confident now. Someone taught you a trick, but tricks will not save you. Did not respond, she simply waited. In the stands, watched with his heart beating fast. He remembered now. He remembered the girl who used to wake up at 5 in the morning to train. The girl who practiced the same movement 10,000 times until it was perfect. The girl who won the national championship at 16 and stood on the podium with tears in her eyes. He remembered what she had said to him after, "This is not a sport. This is who I am." The war had changed everything. The invasion, the chaos. She had stopped competing after that. She became a translator, quiet, invisible, safe. But some things lived in your bones. Some things you could not erase. Commander raised his hand. The crowd became silent. The moment had come. The rules are simple, announced. First blood wins or death. The choice belongs to the winner. First blood or death. Understood. If she cut first, she won, but could choose to continue fighting to the death, and if cut her first, he could choose to kill her. They did not believe in mercy. They believed in victory. His hand came down. Begin. Moved first, he was fast, faster than something that big should be. His blade came down like a falling mountain. Power, force, destruction. Was not there. She moved to the side. Not a big movement, just enough. The blade passed through empty air where she had been standing. The crowd made a sound. Surprise, confusion. Turned and attacked again. Horizontal this time. A sweep that could cut a person in half. Ducked under it. The blade passed over her head. She felt the wind of it touch her hair. She came up behind his swing and her blade moved. Fast, precise. A line of red appeared on his forearm. First blood. The arena was silent. 1,000 stared at the small human woman, stared at the blood running down their greatest warrior's arm. Step back. She returned to her guard position. Her eyes never left center. We can stop now, she said quietly. First blood, I win. Looked at his arm, looked at his blood. Something changed in his yellow eyes. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something else. Rage. No, he growled. We do not stop. We fight until one of us cannot fight anymore. Nodded slowly. She had expected this. Then we continue, she said. Attacked with all his fury. His blade became a storm, slash after slash, strike after strike, each one powerful enough to cut through bone, each one fast enough to kill. But each one hit nothing. Moved like water. Whence blade came from the left, she flowed to the right. When it came from above, she slipped beneath. She never blocked directly. She never tried to match his strength with her own. That would be foolish. He was 3 times her size. His muscles were like iron. If she tried to block his full power, her blade would shatter. Her arms would break. So she did not block. She redirected. This was the secret that they did not understand. They fought with power. They fought with force. They believed that the stronger warrior always won. For 10,000 years this was true. No species they met could match their strength. But humans were different. Humans had been fighting each other for 100,000 years. They had fought with sticks, with stones, with swords, with everything. And because humans were all different sizes, they had learned something important. Strength was not everything. Speed was not everything. The warrior who understood angles, timing, and distance could defeat someone much stronger. Understood this in her bones. Swung his blade in a wide arc, powerful, deadly, but slow. Wide swings were always slow, and slow meant predictable. Stepped inside the arc. For one heartbeat, she was close enough to touch chest. Her blade moved in a small circle, not a big movement, just a turn of her wrist. The tip of her blade drew a line across his ribs. Second blood. Roared and spun around. His elbow came toward her face, fast, brutal. If it hit her, it would break her skull. She was already moving back. The elbow missed her by the width of a finger. The crowd was no longer laughing. The crowd was no longer making any sound at all. They watched in complete silence. What they were seeing was impossible, but it was happening. In the stands, an old warrior leaned forward. His name was, he had fought in 100 battles. He had killed more enemies than he could count. He had trained warriors for 50 years. And he recognized what was doing. She reads him, whispered to the warrior beside him. She sees his attacks before he makes them. How? The younger warrior asked. Is it magic? Do humans have powers we don't know about? Shook his head slowly. Not magic, training. Watch her eyes. She doesn't watch his blade. She watches his body, his shoulders, his hips, his weight. She knows where the blade will go before it moves. The younger warrior stared. That is not possible. I thought so too, said. I was wrong. Down in the arena was breathing hard, not from tiredness, from frustration. He had never missed this many times. He had never felt this slow. Every attack he made, she was already gone. Every opening he saw was a trap. Stand still, he shouted. Fight me properly. His voice was calm. This is how I fight. If you cannot hit me, that is your problem. Screamed and charged forward. His blade was raised high. He would bring it down with all his might. He would split her in two. Did not move back. She moved forward. This surprised him. Prey did not run toward the hunter. Prey ran away. But was not prey. She stepped to his left side at the last moment. Her blade came up as his came down. She did not try to stop his attack. She guided it. Her blade touched his blade and pushed it slightly to the side. Just a few centimeters, but a few centimeters meant his strike missed completely. And her blade continued moving. It went under his arm. It touched his side. It came away red. Third blood. Stumbled forward. He caught himself before he fell. He turned to face her. His side was bleeding. His arm was bleeding. His ribs were bleeding. None of the cuts were deep. None of them were deadly, but they were there. He was losing. The greatest warrior of the was losing to a human woman who stood in corners and translated words. What are you? Asked. His voice was different now. The arrogance was gone. The rage was fading. Something new was replacing it. Something he had never felt before. Fear. Looked at him with steady eyes. I am human, that is all. Humans are weak, said, but even he did not believe it anymore. Humans survive, said. We survived ice ages. We survived famines. We survived wars. We survived each other. For 100,000 years we have been killing and surviving. Your people have been warriors for 10,000 years. My people have been warriors for 10 times longer. She raised her blade again. Her stance was perfect. Her breathing was slow and even. You asked what I am, she said. I am the result of 100,000 years of humans learning to fight. I am every lesson, every victory, every defeat, every drop of blood that my ancestors shed so that their children could be better. In the stands, felt his chest tighten. He remembered now. He remembered her father's words at her first competition. Fighting is not about winning, her father had said. Fighting is about showing who you are. Your grandmother survived the war. Your grandfather survived the occupation. Their strength is in your blood. Show them what that means. She had won that day. She won many days after. And now she was showing an entire species what 100,000 years of human survival looked like. Raised his blade with shaking hands. He was afraid. He finally admitted it to himself. He was afraid of this small woman with calm eyes and a steady blade. But he was and did not surrender. Then let us finish this, he said. Nodded, yes, let us finish this. The fight continued, fought with everything he had, every technique he knew, every trick he had learned. He was not fighting to win anymore. He was fighting to survive. Gave him no rest. She pressed forward now. Her blade moved in patterns that could not understand. Small movements, quick movements. Each one created an opening. Each opening became a cut. Fourth blood, his shoulder. Fifth blood, his thigh. Sixth blood, his cheek. The cuts were not deep. They were not meant to kill. They were meant to teach. In the stands, Commander watched with cold eyes. His face showed nothing, but inside his mind was racing. He had been fighting for 80 years. He had never seen anything like this. The human woman was not just good. She was something else, something beyond good. Her blade moved like it was part of her body. No, like it was part of her soul. The old warrior moved to sit beside. "You see it now," said quietly. "I see a human who knows how to fight," replied. "You see more than that. You see what we forgot." Turned to look at the old warrior. "What do you mean?" Pointed at the arena. "Watch her. Really watch her. She does not fight like us. We fight to destroy. She fights to control. We fight with our bodies. She fights with her mind. We fight for victory. She fights because fighting is who she is." "That is the same thing." "No," said. "It is not. We became warriors because we wanted to conquer. She became a warrior because her people had no choice. Fight or die for 100,000 years. That is different. That is." Down in the arena, stepped back for a moment. She was breathing harder now. Sweat ran down her face. Her arms were getting tired. The blade was heavy, heavier than what she was used to. But she did not stop. She could not stop. In her mind, she heard her father's voice, the things he used to say during training. "Pain is temporary. Quitting is forever. Your body will fail before your spirit does. Never let your spirit fail first." She took a deep breath. Her grip tightened on the blade. Saw her pause. He saw a chance. He attacked with a sudden thrust, fast, desperate, aiming for her heart. His blade came up, not to block, to deflect. She turned her wrist and pushed his blade to the side. It passed by her chest, missing by less than a centimeter. Then she stepped forward and cut. Her blade drew a line across his chest, not deep, but long, from his left shoulder to his right hip, a perfect diagonal. Seventh blood. Fell to one knee. His blade dropped from his hand. He pressed his arm against his chest, trying to stop the bleeding. It would not stop. He looked up at, she stood above him. Her blade was pointed at his throat. The tip was steady. It did not shake even a little. "Yield," she said. Her voice was calm but tired. His yellow eyes stared into her dark ones. He saw no hate there, no cruelty, no joy in hurting him. He saw only focus, only will, only the eyes of someone who had decided to win and would accept nothing else. "What if I do not yield?" he asked. His voice was rough. Blood was in his mouth. "Then I will end this another way." "You would kill me." Was quiet for a moment. "I do not want to, but I will if I must." Believed her. That was the strangest part. He believed every word. This small human woman would kill him, not because she wanted to, not because she hated him, but because that was what the moment required. This was true strength, not the strength of muscles, the strength of will. "I yield," said. The words felt strange in his mouth. He had never said them before, did not yield, fought until death. But today was different. Today, everything was different. Lowered her blade. She stepped back. Her body was shaking now. The fight was over. The energy that had been keeping her going was fading. She wanted to collapse. She wanted to close her eyes and rest. But not yet, not in front of them. She stood straight. She held her blade at her side. She looked at Commander. The arena was completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. 1,000 had just watched their greatest warrior fall to a human female, a translator who stood in corners. Stood slowly. His massive body cast a shadow over those below him. He walked down from his seat, step by step. The crowd parted to let him pass. He entered the arena. He walked toward. She did not move. She did not run. She stood and waited. Stopped in front of her. He was 3 times her height. His shadow covered her completely. His yellow eyes looked down at her small form. Then he did something no one expected. He bowed. Not a small bow, a full bow. His head went down until his chin touched his chest. The bow of respect. The bow that only gave to worthy enemies. "You have taught us something today," he said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. "We thought we knew what warriors were. We were wrong." Bowed back, just a small bow, respectful but not humble. "Every species has something to teach," she said. "Every species has something to learn. That is why we came here, not to fight, to learn, to grow together." Studied her for a long moment, then he nodded. "Perhaps," he said, "we have much to learn from each other." The treaty was signed 3 days later. Captain Park sat at the table with Commander. They signed their names on the document that would change everything. Humans and would work together. They would trade. They would share knowledge. They would be allies. But everyone knew the truth. The treaty was not made by words. It was not made by promises. It was made by blood on arena sand. It was made by a small woman with a steady blade. Stood in the corner again, watching, translating when needed. Her right arm was wrapped in bandages. His last attack had cut her deeper than she showed during the fight. The medics said it would heal. She would have a scar. She did not mind scars. Stood beside her. He kept looking at her arm, kept worrying. "Stop looking at it," said quietly. "It does not hurt." "You always say that." "Because it is always true." Smiled a little. "You know the whole ship is talking about you, the whole fleet, probably the whole coalition by now. They are calling you the Blade of Earth." Made a face. "That is a stupid name." "It is a great name. You are a hero." "I'm a translator who knows how to hold a sword. That is all." Shook his head. He wanted to argue. He wanted to tell her that she was wrong, that she was more than she admitted. But he knew better. She never liked praise. She never liked attention. She just wanted to do her job and be left alone. Some things never changed. The ceremony ended. Captain Park shook hands with Commander. They made a strange sound in their throats. It was their version of approval, agreement, respect. As the human delegation prepared to leave, appeared. He walked slowly. His body was covered in bandages. He looked different somehow. Smaller, not in size but in presence. The arrogance that had filled him before was gone. He stopped in front of. The two of them stood there for a moment. The warrior who fell and the woman who brought him down. "I wanted to speak with you before you left," said. His voice was quiet, almost humble. Nodded. "Speak." "I have fought many enemies, killed many warriors. I thought I understood strength. I thought strength was about power, about force, about making others kneel." He paused. "I was wrong." "Yes," said simply, "you were." Almost smiled. "Almost. You do not try to make me feel better." "Should I?" "No, I do not deserve it." He looked at his bandaged hands. "When we fought, I felt something I never felt before. Fear. Real fear. Not fear of dying. Fear of not understanding. You moved in ways I could not predict. You fought in ways I could not counter. It was like fighting a ghost." Understood what he meant. Humans have many styles of fighting, many schools, many traditions. Each one developed over hundreds of years, thousands of years. What you saw was not a ghost. It was the result of generations of teachers and students passing knowledge from hand to hand. "Your family taught you." "My father, his father taught him, and his mother before that, and so on, going back many generations. Before that there were schools, masters who dedicated their lives to understanding the blade, not just how to kill with it, how to live with it." Was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "Would you teach me?" The question surprised everyone who heard it. Eyes went wide, even blinked. "You want me to teach you?" she asked. "You defeated me. By the laws of my people, that means you have wisdom I do not have. I would be honored to learn from you." Studied him, she saw something in his yellow eyes. Humility, real humility, not the fake kind that people showed when they wanted something. The real kind that came from having everything you believed destroyed in front of you. "I cannot stay here," she said. "My duty is with my people." "I understand, but perhaps, one day, when the humans and are truly allies, perhaps then you could return." Nodded slowly, "Perhaps one day." Bowed the same bow that Commander had given, full, deep, respectful. "Until that day, Blade of Earth." Almost laughed, "Please do not call me that. It is what my people are calling you. You cannot stop it." "I can try." The starlight dawn left that evening. Stood at the observation window, watching the gray planet grow smaller and smaller. Soon it was just a dot, then nothing. Joined her, they stood in silence for a long time. "Do you think the peace will last?" he asked. "I do not know. Peace is harder than war. It takes more work, more trust, more forgiveness." "But you gave us a chance." Shook her head. "I gave us a moment. What we do with that moment is up to everyone else." Looked at her, his childhood friend, the girl who used to cry when she lost competitions, the woman who just changed the future of two species with a blade. "Your father would be proud," he said. Was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. "I know, that is why I did it." The ship moved through space toward Earth. Behind them, they were having new discussions, new debates. Some were angry that their warrior lost. Some were curious about humans. Some were afraid. But all of them remembered what they saw in that arena. A small woman, a steady blade, and the moment when their greatest warrior forgot to breathe. In centuries to come, the story would be told again and again. How a translator became a legend. How a challenge became a lesson. How humans proved they were more than they appeared. But for now, just wanted to rest. She went to her quarters. She lay down on her bed. She closed her eyes. And for the first time in days, she allowed herself to smile. Some things, she thought, you never forget. How to hold a blade. How to survive. How to show the galaxy what humans really are.